Beautiful. Thanks so much, Michelle. So as Michelle said, I'm Allie Smith, and I've been teaching yoga for about 25 years. And the way I do it, and might be a little bit different from what you're used to, is I start off in Shavasana because I want to start off in a way that allows us to relax first. Because when we relax, we have far less of a chance of getting injured. Plus, when you can get into your own body and start to breathe, you start to feel, oh, I thought my right shoulder was sore, but actually it's my left shoulder. So then you have a better sense of who you are this morning and how you need to adapt your practice to suit you and be your best medicine. I've done a lot of studying of Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurveda is not curative, it's more about gathering self-knowledge so that you can figure out the prescription that's right for you. And then you administer that prescription to yourself via yoga or breath work or your lifestyle. So I'm going to start us out lying down in Shavasana, and then we're going to build slowly up like the grade 10 English class novel. We'll build slowly up toward a climax pose, which is going to be Wheel of Life, which is a lovely side body, deep, squeezy, cleansy posture. And then we'll come back down towards Shavasana. So I'm going to ask you to lie back, and you could have your knees bent if your low back is tender, or you have your legs go straight if your low back is fine. Use any props you want to. If your neck is tender, maybe a pillow behind your head. An eye bag over your eyes is great for calming your nervous system, slowing your heart rate down. Shavasana seemingly is the easiest posture in yoga, but I would challenge to say that it is actually the hardest posture because there's nothing to avoid being with you, and that's hard. We're very, very good escape artists, especially during this pandemic, right? Who has not been soothing themselves with excess and distraction? So when you lie back, close your eyes, or if you're not comfortable with your eyes actually closed, just let them rest. My promise to you, if it's important, is I will work you hard if you want, but I'm going to do it slowly. And we're going to be kind, and that can be really hard. So I want you to start to deepen your breath. Initiate that deeper breath just even through accessing your lower lungs. So a slow inhale toward the lower lungs where your receptors for your parasympathetic nervous system sit. So you slowly come up through the lungs. And then when you exhale, it's just this long, slow squeeze. And then each time you take a breath, you go a little bit longer on that inhale and way longer on the exhale. Can you feel the side walls of your body that when you inhale, they expand out? And as you exhale, they draw in. And because our practice is going to be focused on deep twists, when you exhale, really come into the movement of your lower ribs. So what you'll feel is, yes, navel towards spine as you exhale. But I also want you to feel like you're pulling your ribs slowly, slowly down. When we slow the breath down in this way, our body's here, I have time. Well, that's new. Maybe in having more time, I can start to heal. So yes, your eyes are closed, but could you also relax them? Turn your sense of sight inwardly to gaze at you. I wonder if you can feel a really subtle movement in your inner ears as you breathe. Let your ears relax. Allow the roots of your teeth to unwind. Let your soft palate lift as though Thursday's full moon was rising in the roof of your mouth. And your tongue relaxes. You don't need to talk. Let's do 2 deep breaths here. And on that second exhale, allow your knees to bend and step your feet wide on your mat. Let your knees rock from side to side, but go slowly because this is your first foray into your body. So when you're going to the left, your knees are not stacked. You can exhale, scoop your belly, curl your tailbone a bit. Feel your right hip rise up so that the hip flexors are stretching. And then to the right, left hip flexors are then the focus. So I work almost entirely on the anatomy of fascia. So as you're going side to side, just to be fancy, you could stretch your arms past your head, or you could interlace your fingers behind your head. And I want you to be curious about, yeah, I feel my right quads, or I feel the muscles in my right abdomen when I go to the left. But might I also feel my underarm or my triceps, my breast tissue? That's fascia. It's a cobweb-like structure in your body, and it covers your entire body. It goes through your muscles, around your muscles, through your organs, around your organs, and it's continual, unless you've had surgery, in which case it's been cut, and then it bundles in kind of a disorganized way. So one more time to the right side. Big exhale. Come back to center. If your hands were behind your head, let that go. Walk your feet to be hip width apart. Take your right ankle in front of your left thigh and press your right knee away from you for a moment. So I really like keeping my hands behind my head as I do this, but if you find it aggravates your shoulders, then don't do it. Start to rock your legs from side to side here. So you notice I'm starting off really gently. It's like I want to romance the body into letting me in, because fascia is reactive. It's your spidey sense. So you walk into a room and you measure whether or not that room is safe. That's fascia. It's considered now another nervous system. So then if I scream at my fascia, move now, get out of the way, it's going to lock down, which is the opposite of what I want. Come to the right with your legs, but be mindful of your inner left knee. So I'm going to scoop my belly again, curl my tailbone under, try to press my left hip up a little bit while pressing my left elbow really wide. So from my left elbow to my left knee, I feel this connection, which I know isn't muscle because no muscle is that long. Come back to center. Now come over to the left with your legs, and I want you to go until your right foot is on the floor. So as your right foot plants down, your right knee stretches up. Now reach your right sitting bone toward the bottom edge of your mat. So imagine this cobweb, and as you encounter physical stress or emotional stress, the strands of the cobweb start to thicken, harder or thicker and thicker. So as I push my hip away from my underarm, I'm pulling those thick strands so that they delaminate, the layers come away. Now take your elbows toward the sky. If your hands are not behind your head, just tuck them in for a sec. Elbows to the sky. Take an inhale, and when you exhale, squeeze your belly to your back and curl your head up just a little bit. This is not a sit-up. Yeah, it is a little bit, but more, I want your neck to slump. And if you pressed your left elbow further, you could tuck your nose towards your right underarm and then slump in your left shoulder. So the opposition of pulling my head up, but my shoulder down, draws the fascia to be a bit thinner. Release down, release your hands from behind your head. Keep your legs as they are. So I've got my right sitting bone pressing down. My hip socket is starting to decompress. Arms to the sky. Hold your elbows. Take your elbows to the right so that your left chest is squished. So fascia is full of a jelly-like fluid. But like your lymphatics, there is no pump to move the fluid. You need movement and squishing and stretching to move the fluid. So as you pull your elbows to the right, the jelly fluid in the left shoulder area is being pushed through the channels. You're squishing the left chest, left underarm, which is lymphatic. So all this stored stagnant fluid gets to flush. Now squeeze your ribs down as you exhale and bring your arms all the way overhead, still holding your elbows. I want to tuck my shoulder blades down a little bit and then press that left sitting bone away and then reach your elbows away. Feel that side body. We don't even think about our sides anymore because we're so focused on where we're going and getting our to-do list done. Inhale, side walls. Exhale, squeeze. Let your arms go. Now, one last thing with your legs, and then we'll do the other side. Get your left hand to find your right knee and pull that knee toward your chest and a little further to the left. So that's one part of it, is pulling the leg over, but the other part is that idea of opposition. So yes, the left hand is heavy, but then I want to press my right bum to the bottom of my mat while I open my right arm to the right. And ideally, my teeth are unclenched. Eyes are soft. I want my fascia to believe that I feel safe, because I do. Come back to center, place your feet on the floor, and let's see if there's a difference between the two sides of your body. I bet your right side feels lower in the floor, like you're kind of falling off a cliff, but also longer. So let's do the other side, left ankle, right thigh. A really unflattering metaphor for your body. Feel free to interlace fingers behind the head. Interlace fingers behind your head if you want to, or just leave them open. Shoulder blades down, begin to rock. So this really unflattering metaphor for your body. I want you to imagine that your body is made of pie dough. And there are places where the pie dough is thicker, more dense, and places where it's very thin. So thick places would be bum, hips, shoulders, go a little further. Thin places are your neck, your knees, your rotator cuffs in the fronts of your shoulders. So what happens is the thick pie dough hoards everything, and the thin pie dough gets injured. So as you're rocking, it's kind of like you're using a rolling pin, and you're distributing the tissue better around your body. Let's go to the left and stay there for a breath or two. Remember your inner right knee, thin pie dough, so it's scarce, but your quads and your whole chain of hip flexors is thick pie dough. So scoop your belly, curl the tailbone, press that right hip up a little bit, and get those hoarders to share with the places where you feel scarcity. Even if your dog runs into your knee and that's how you get injured, it still says that there's something unbalanced in your knee. So yes, it was impact, but why did your knee have such a hard time with the impact? Because the pie dough wasn't evenly distributed. Come over to the right and press your left foot into the floor. So this is all like getting to know yourself postures. We press the left hip long, we say hello to the hip socket. Let's draw the elbows up toward the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, round up slightly. Curl your chin in. Multiply your chins more than you've ever wanted in your life. Then take your right elbow a little further, turn your head to the left, slump the right side of your neck. To center, the head comes down, arms release. Let's focus on the bones of the pelvis, reaching to the bottom of the mat. Squeeze your ribs as you exhale. Float your arms to the sky. Hold your elbows. Take your elbows to the left. The right side of your chest is squished, not your throat, right? Breathe into the back of your right lung. You know, I spent so much of my life angry at my body. I carry too much weight. My shoulders are too tight. I've got major issues in my neck because of that. So then I was just mad at my body all the time. It took me so long to begin to be with my body. Let's go slowly up overhead with your arms, but squeeze your ribs as you go. And I'm not saying that every day I have a good relationship with my body, even now. But I feel more like we're on the same team. Inhale, side walls. I want to help my body be well. Exhale, squeeze. Let your arms relax. Let them fall out shoulder height. Take your right hand to your left knee. You're going to pull that knee toward your body while pressing your bum in the opposite direction. I think we were all, as kids, sold this bill of goods that if you work hard enough, you won't have stress anymore. You won't be symptomatic anymore. That's a big lie. We will, every day of our lives, be symptomatic, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. There will always be something dying and something being born within us, and everything in between. Come back to center. So what if instead of fighting to have no symptoms, what if we just decided to wake up in the morning and say, how can I be with me today? So how do those two sides feel? How's your neck? What does your body want you to know before we transition off of our backs? Let's roll to the right side. Let's come up into cat pose on hands and knees. The problem with this style of yoga, where we move more slowly, is that we also catch up to ourselves. Emotions can rise up, round your back, dip your back, play. We can start to feel the stuff that we've shelved. Sorry for my froggy throat this morning. So I live fairly consciously, and yet every morning that I practice, I am surprised by something in my body. So cat pose is so versatile. You can move around, you can do circles, you can wiggle, and you can find out what's happening for you. I'm going to turn and face you for a sec, just so that you have a better sense of what I'm doing. Take your hands over to the right side. So if I was properly on my mat, my hands would be slightly off my mat. And around my back, sit back toward the heels. Feel that left side stretching. Then dip through your thumbs. Round back. So as you do this, the point is to feel where you're tight. So then to rush in and be disappointed and angry that you found some tension seems a little bit counterintuitive. Of course, you're tight in places in your body. You're actively participating in your life. Sit back, stay there. Now, as you stay there, use your right hand for leverage, Walk your left hand further away. Now flare the left ribs open and breathe. I am a huge proponent of groaning. I think it's really useful. Take an inhale, exhale, round up. Savor the transitions. Take a walk to the left. Feel what can happen in the moments between. Round your back, sit back towards your heels. Dip through your thumbs. There is nothing wrong with you. You are exactly where your soul intended you to be. Even that little bit of shoulder pain you're feeling was planted specifically for your transformation. Nothing is a setback. Let's lean back and stay there. You could use your left hand for leverage as you walk your right hand further. Flare the ribs. So the underarm has 8 muscles intersecting. So that's 8 muscles with 8 envelopes of fascia. It's a lot. So lean into it and get that little hoarder to start to share. One more breath. Take an inhale. When you exhale, round up. Enjoy the transitions in your life. So when you're back in your cat pose, wardrobe adjustments always needed. Take your right knee, bring it slightly forward, and I want it to be centered on the mat so that I can easily tuck my left knee behind my right. So I'll just tuck my shirt in. So I've got a little bit of a squeeze at my inner thighs and knees, which is again lymphatically related. I want to walk my hands forward. So the plot is starting to thicken now. Hands walk forward. I want to keep my bum up above my knees. Now feel what it's like to pull your shoulders around your ears, how terrible that feels. Pull your shoulders back, reveal your neck. Tuck your triceps in a little bit. Bring your chest and your triceps toward the ground. This is a really good one to exercise your groaning potential. So I'm lifting my sitting bones up and I'm sinking my breastbone down in a version of puppy. It's a doozy. Rounding up slowly. Walk your hands in under your shoulders. Lean back until your right knee curls slightly up and round your body over your leg. If this is too much on your knees, here's the simple answer: don't go so far. So I want you to think about always going to the suburbs of your discomfort, never to the downtown core. Come back up slowly. Now take your right knee further forward to the space between your hands. This is a different version of pigeon, but you're going to slide your left leg still over to the right and back. So again, knee people, be mindful. You're going to feel this in your bum. There's no avoiding that. And then you're going to stretch your body forward over the inner right leg. Maybe you could come down onto your elbows. So as we build our storyline, we're basically encountering our climax or our pivotal pose, pinnacle pose, every few postures. So this is a little foreshadowing of what is to come. We press the left foot into the ground. Maybe think of pressing pubic bone toward tailbone to deepen the fold of your body. And if you're up for adventure, left hand a little further forward and over to the right. So now this is like crescent moon. And you flare that left side open. Bring your hands back in under your chest and shoulders. Bring your left foot more centered on your mat, but still back there. Toes are curled under. Now, if you want a little bit of work, arms are straight, left knee is up. You could float the right knee up as you engage through your core. and you step back toward plank. Then you go up towards your downward dog, keeping your shoulders away from your ears. So this is our first downward dog. So why don't we do a little bit of bending a knee and straightening a knee, which we call walking the dog. Get your calf muscles stretching. Come up onto the balls of your feet. Come down onto your knees. Checking in child's pose for one breath. Should be a little bit lopsided through your body. Exhale, round up. Let's bring the left knee forward and centered. The right knee tucks in behind. So we've got a little squeeze at our inner thighs, lymphatic area, and inner knees. Walk your hands forward. So as the hands walk forward, we're going to pull the shoulders back, give ourselves room for a neck. Tip the bones up, so sitting bones, pubic bone, tailbone. Bring your triceps toward the floor. Take it slowly. So the slower your movements are, the more you get to really isolate the right spot of fascia. Let's round up. Walk your hands in under your shoulders and then lean back so that your left knee comes off the ground. Fold your body forward over that leg. Feel the breath in your back. Sometimes I like this when my hands are forward. Sometimes I want to back my arms up so my shoulders really round over my knee. It depends on what I need on that given day. So round up. The left knee tracks forward toward the space between the heel, or between your thumbs, I guess. The right leg slides to the left and back. So now I've got my left bum in a good stretch. I want to shift the body over that inner left leg, coming down onto my elbows. And one of the great things about having your leg in the way of your belly is you've got to breathe into the back of your body. And your back is your motor. The front is your sensory. Maybe your right hand stretches forward and left. Breathe into the back of your body and slow your motor down. You know when you do that in a boat and all the water swells up around you when you first slow it down? Kind of overwhelming. And then it shifts. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Let's walk the right foot to a better place on the mat to prepare us to raise the knee up as you curl the toes under. And then if you're up for more work, you squeeze in through your core, float the knee, left knee, step it back. There's your plank. Downward dog. When you're up in downward dog, careful that you're not rounding your back. So bend your knees slightly. Tip your pubic bone up to where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. Feel your back then able to let go and elongate. Shoulders away from ears. Don't lock those elbows. One last breath here. Come up on the balls of your feet. Come down onto your knees. Sitting back, knees can be as wide as you need them to be, checking in. Exhale, round up. I want you to step your right foot forward. Now you could do that from downward dog if you wanted in your lunge position, or you can just do it from cat. This is meant to be deeply accessible to everyone. So right foot forward. Want to make sure that when you step your right foot forward, no matter how deeply your knee bends, that the right heel is going to stay down on the floor. So this is my favorite posture, and it's a little bit confusing. I want to keep my left shin pressing into the floor. I'm going to take my left hand kind of out wide. My fingers point out, and I want to lean my hand down. It's pretty far forward, right? I'm going to turn the other way so you can see one part of this. I want my right arm to drape over my knee. So now I'm going to drop my left hip down toward the floor. As my left leg extends, I'm going to roll to the baby toe side of that leg. My left arm is straight so that my waist is being stretched. Now pull your right knee in and look over your right shoulder. So I feel that on the top of my left hip bone and into the waist and in my right bum. Left shoulder, slowly release. Now stay in your lunge. Shift your weight back a little bit, but keep your toes on the floor. Keep the ball of your foot anchored. You're going to feel that along your shin and top of your foot. So top of your foot is really thin fascia, as is the bottom, hence why we get plantar fasciitis. That's about your bum. It's not about your heel. Raise your toes up, flex that foot. So now I want the opposition of pressing my right sitting bone back and my heel out, especially the inner heel. If you want to take it further, take your left hand to the outer right foot. Right hand is somewhere back there. You're going to look over your right shoulder as you pull on your foot, and your foot pushes into your left hand. There's that delicious left shoulder stretch. And then we're going to release it. Slide that right leg back. Let's do all that on the other side. So left foot steps forward. Again, you can do it from downward dog if you want. We want to make sure the left heel is going to stay anchored. The right hand comes really far forward, fingers pointing out. I want to keep that right arm straight, left arm drapes over my leg. Now I roll to the outside of my right hip and leg, even my foot. Look over the left shoulder. Feel the right shoulder creeping up to your ear. So right side of the waist is stretching, top of the hip. I want my foot is tipping over, so I want to pull that left knee in and ground my big toe. That's left big toe. Right shoulder is stretching. Come back around. Lean slightly back, leave your toes on the ground. So I don't know what your bodies are capable of because I don't know you. You know you. So your job in this practice is to do what's right for you, to stay around the suburbs of any discomfort or injury. Flex this foot. So don't go to the downtown core of your symptoms. Stay in the suburbs. Push your inner heel away, pull that left sitting bone back. If you're up for it, right hand holds outer foot. I'll look over my left shoulder, pulling on the foot pushes into my hand. And I breathe, right? Every time we take a deeper breath, we say to the fascia, you can let go now. Come on back. Let's bring that left leg back toward our cat pose and just wiggle around a little bit. Check in. Sorry for the tickly throat. All right. So one last thing from cat pose, and then we'll be moving forward. Take your right knee just a little bit forward and your left hand a little bit forward. We're going to thread the right arm under and check in on the shoulder. So you're coming down onto your right shoulder and right side of your head. Now to protect my neck, I want to use my left hand on the floor, my right forearm on the floor, even my shins. Roll your left shoulder back and draw your right shoulder through. Breathe into the backs of your lungs. Slowly release. Let's change sides. Right hand slightly forward, left knee slightly forward. Left arm threads under. Come down on your left shoulder, left side of your head. push your right hand into the floor, your left forearm into the floor. Roll the right shoulder back. Breathe to where the tissue is dense. And slowly release. Okay, so when you come back to your cat pose, let's get those knees parallel, get your hands parallel. So a lot of people work with their hands directly under their shoulders. I like them slightly further forward. I think that putting the heels down in downward dog is overrated. And as I've seen a lot, especially in teacher training that I've done for, almost 2 decades, people really blow their Achilles tendons when they push their heels down and cause major issues. So curl your toes under, lift your knees and hips up, and instead of thinking of ramming your heels down, why don't you think about extending your outer heels back? The Achilles is so tender and thin. So let's go to the calves instead. Let's go to that thick tissue area. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. Reach up through the pubic bone. All right, so get your weight into your left foot. Let's take the right leg and raise it up. And you might circle the right foot at the ankle up there. Just press your foot up, have a great big opening. Then I want you to come up on the ball of your left foot and pull your right knee toward your chest. So about halfway forward. Now bear with me through these instructions. Your right foot goes to the right on the floor. You're on the inner foot. I'm going to rotate on my left foot so that I'm on the outside of the foot and raise the right arm up, feeling the legs powerfully strong, heart open, breathe. Then the right hand comes down. I come back onto the ball of my left foot, and I take the right foot right back up to the sky. Oops, I gotta adjust my left foot. So then as you exhale, pull the right knee toward your chest again, and let's cross it over to the left. You're on the outside of the foot. Turn the left heel back, raise your left arm up, power up your legs, open your heart. Bring your left hand down, come back on the ball of your left foot, step your right foot back into downward dog. Now in downward dog, get your shoulders moving. You don't have to hold it all together. Then take your left leg, raise up. Coming up on the ball of your right foot, pull your left knee forward. You're going to step your left foot over to the left side on the inside of that foot. Roll to the outside of your right foot. Raise your left arm up. Power up your legs. Open your heart. Breathe. Left hand down. Curl those right toes under. Go back to having your left leg up. You got it. Pull that knee forward. Come over to the right. Cross over. Turn your left foot. That's a right foot, I'm sorry. Turn your right foot. Raise your right arm up. Stretch your legs long. Open your heart. Bring your right hand down. Step back into your downward dog. And glory, hallelujah. Come to your child's pose. Breathe. Stay in child's for a couple of breaths and really feel the heat in your body, the melting of tension. Can you feel the way your spine moves as you breathe? Are there ripples? There's a serpentine quality. Can you feel that? Or is the fascia so dense that it's blocking you? How do you open that up? Take one more breath there. When you exhale, you're going to round up again, cat pose. Curl your toes under. Last little series of downward dogs. So we're headed toward our pinnacle posture. We're going to start with the right leg going up again. Peek under your right underarm. Pull the right knee toward the center of your chest, just like before. But this time, as you cross over to the left, you're going to come down onto your right hip. Okay, so I'm on my right hip. My right leg is straight. I don't want my leg way up beyond my hip level. I want it straight out from my hip. Now the left leg, can you come onto the top of that foot? So you're pointing your left toes and you're rolling your left hip over your right inner thigh. Do you feel that? The hands are directly beneath your shoulders. So remember way back in Shavasana when I talked about the drawing down of your ribs as you exhale. Well, that's the nexus of your twist. So inhale, look to the left. Now, as you exhale, squeeze through the right lower rib, so liver area, look over your right shoulder and stretch those legs long. Inhale, look left. Exhale, squeeze, look right. Look between your thumbs. Can you come down onto your elbows? And I want the elbows to be directly beneath your shoulders. Your forearms, wrists, and hands are parallel to each other. This is just the beginning. As you exhale, press the bones of your pelvis toward the bottom edge of your mat. Press your legs long in their respective directions. Start to feel the connection between your right sacrum SI joint and your left shoulder, diagonal across your body. If you're up for more, you take your left fingers under your right wrist. Pivot your left elbow forward toward wrist height. So my arms look like this. My left elbow is up at the height of my wrists. Now I'm going to feel a stronger stretch through my left shoulder from my right sacrum, particularly if I focus on that with my breath. If I can encourage my left elbow even a little further forward, then I'm really close to this pinnacle pose that we're working toward. Don't forget your powerful legs. Come back up onto your hands. So here's what we've been working toward. And pinnacle doesn't mean hardest pose. It just means deepest or the one of greatest focus. Bend your right knee. So my knee is still at hip level, and now it's at 90 degrees, and I'm going to flex that foot. My left knee, I want it to bend as well, but you see how my knee is still where it was, straight down from my hip? That left foot is flexed. So if I were to look at my legs, I'd start to see this familiar sense of a wheel. This is a symbol from the Haida. It was adopted, unfortunately, in World War II by Hitler. However, it's a beautiful symbol of the rotation of life, the wheel of life. So as you exhale, press your hands down, squeeze your belly, and feel the rotation of a wheel through your legs. Look over your right shoulder. 7 generations flowing through you. Come down onto your elbows. So we've been doing a lot of side wall work, right? Hips and shoulder work. That was all in preparation for this. So press your left elbow down, press your right sitting bone back. Might you walk your left hand up past your head? Your right hand over to the right. So I'll turn again so you can see me better. We want each limb to be a spoke on the wheel. You could come down onto your chest, left side of your face, and reach fingers in each direction, knees in each direction. Feel that the more strongly that you press your right hand into the floor, the more you allow your left underarm to come down. Do one more breath here. Let's bring hands under shoulders. Press your body up. Let's go back to our cat pose. Well, or if you're fancy, just curl your left toes under, come right back up into your downward dog. You know, the first time a yoga teacher told me that downward dog is supposed to be a posture of rest, I felt mildly resentful, maybe even slightly aggressive toward that teacher. But truthfully, it is. And if you find a way to stack your bones up and relax that soft tissue around your bones, it's quite lovely to hang out here. Let's take the left leg up. And then come up on the ball of your right foot, bring that left knee forward. Feel the belly drawing in. Take your left leg over to the right, and you're going to come down onto your left hip. So I've got my left leg straight and the foot is flexed over to what is now the right side. My right leg comes down the mat, and I want to roll toward the top of that right foot if I can, including the baby toe. Hands under shoulders. So the first part of this is really just a big ring out for your internal organs. So you inhale, look to the right. Exhale, squeeze, look to the left. See, the truth is our bodies need us to participate. Look to the right. Look to the left, squeeze. We need to be part of why our bodies are well, not just because of what we eat or drink, but how we move. Let's come down onto elbows. You are a body of mostly water, and you would never let a glass of water stagnate and then drink it, right? Get your waterways moving. So now think of the fascia from your left sacrum. So sacrum is your thong triangle. So right where the triangle of your thong sits, it's part of your spine. So your hip bones connect there. And now as you roll your belly over your inner left thigh, you're spreading the left hip away from the sacrum. SI joint is a happier place to be. See if you can connect to the right shoulder from your left sacrum. If you're up for it, right fingers under left wrist, you track that right elbow forward. There's your diagonal stretch. So now power up your legs. Stretch across your back. And the vice grip that was holding your shoulders or your spine begins to loosen. The life energy, which is held in your waterways, so prana is held in the water, that life energy is beginning to flow again. Come back up onto your hands. So let's see about wheel of life. The knees bend at 90 degrees. Your feet are flexed. Now, the right knee, it can be a little bit dodgy, this position. Know that it's okay if it comes up. And protect it by using your quads, lengthening them out, not tightening them, but lengthening them. Let's come down onto elbows. So can you feel that wheel rotating now 7 generations through your body? Feel the power of your exhale. How about the right arm walking forward and the left arm to the left? And I always find with yoga poses, because I'm a really tight fascia person, is I come toward them, I figure out where I need to be, and then I often come up again and rearrange and see if I can just go in a little further. So left hand pushes into the ground, allowing the right underarm to come closer to the ground. When we exhale, we rotate through the spokes of the wheel. There's so much right now when we think about ancestral trauma, even the concerns about climate change. We're aware of the generations to come and generations that have already gone. Hands under shoulders. So might your clearing help the next 7 generations. Instead of downward dog, come to a central seated position with your legs out in front of you. Oh, it's funny, a pose like Wheel of Life, although not a terribly challenging pose, it can feel noisy because it stretches so many parts of us. So we're in center. What I'd like to do is just really find our alignment because those poses were lopsided. Let's find our center again, find our alignment. And I would love to take it into a balance if you feel up for that. Let's start one leg at a time just to get the lay of the land. So maybe your right index and middle finger come around your big toe. Find this plateau just behind your sitting bones where you can rest a little bit more easily. And then stretch your right foot up, your right leg up. So one thing I could do in this is I could panic. I could put my shoulders up around my ears. I could round my back, clench my teeth. But I want freedom because that's the goal of yoga. So I'm going to pull my spine into my body. I'm going to breathe deeply, draw my shoulders down, and meet myself where I need to be met, not where I think I should be, right? Let's try the left. So left index and middle finger wrap around. Open your heart up. Femur into back of thigh. One of the hardest things for me to allow myself to be is at ease because I'm ambitious, and ambition, I've come to realize, is often based in fear and not enough, right? So for me to say, well, that's enough, that's pretty huge. And it wasn't in my vocabulary for a long time. To do both sides, we could hold our big toes again. I often feel, though, if I'm going to do that I might amputate my big toes. So I will often go for the outsides of my feet instead. Now I'm not graceful, by the way. I want to get behind my sitting bones. My feet are off the ground. Pull the chest open. I need to focus my eyes. So I'm going to focus up toward where the wall meets the ceiling. I'm going to breathe and pray that I don't fall down in front of all of you. Raise my legs up. Pull the spine into the body. Let it be enough. Push those inner feet away. Draw the shoulders down. How's your jaw? Come down to a cross-legged position. Let's do body circles. So I've never been someone that wants to be out in the spotlight. Major body image stuff. But ever since the pandemic struck and I closed my 22-year-old studio, I went on Facebook Live. And almost every day we do these body circles, reverse your circles. I did it for a need for community. I missed community so much, and I was worried about my yoga community. So we meet Tuesday through Saturday on Facebook Live. And the need and the exposure has helped me to get comfortable with all of this, to say, well, this is who I am today. Right hand to left knee. To me, that's well-being. Left hand on the floor behind. Press your sitting bones down, lift your heart up, look over your left shoulder. Would I prefer to lose weight? Absolutely. But this is me today. Left hand, right knee. And I'm going to choose to love me today. Right hand on the floor behind. So here's my most daring request for you. It's going to take a lot of courage. I want you to say the words, I love you, and then insert your full name. Face forward. Bring the soles of your feet toward each other, far away from you, not close. Drape forward. Let your head go. I love you, full name. Breathe into your back. I love you. Full name. Roll slowly up. Make your way back down onto your back in Shavasana, using any props that you would like to use. I have these buckwheat bolsters that I love because they're really heavy. And sometimes when we're lying back in class, we'll put the bolsters on top of us like a weighted blanket. And quite often, it's a great release for emotion. Let your eyes close. Deepen your breath. I want to leave you with one simple exercise. It's so simple, you can do it a lot. Inhale to a count of 8-ish. Exhale far longer. Exhale to 16 or to 18 or 20. This is going to trigger your relaxation response, which is a fundamental piece of being well. Yes, exercise, food, social networks, all those things are important, but you must trigger your relaxation response every day for your systems to be healthy. And so as you elongate your exhale, the vagus nerve wakes up and it sends a serum to your heart and to your nervous system to slow everything down. And in this serum and in this slowing down, what happens is your inflammatory responses go down. We know inflammation is responsible for many cancers and heart disease, but they're also finding it responsible for Alzheimer's, bipolar. It's fascinating. So trigger your relaxation response every day through the activation of that long exhale. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. Could you softly roll to your right side into the fetal position with your eyes closed? Take a moment there to honor yourself for your practice today, for having taken this time for you, for being so kind and loving. With eyes closed, let's ease our way to seated. I always end a yoga practice with hands at the heart in prayer position. It's the centering and grounding that's really useful energetically. I am so honored to share this time and virtual space with you. I wish for you deep peace. Om Shanti. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Drink lots of water today. You did a lot of squeezing of the fluids inside. So if you get headachy or any nausea comes up or you get emotional, get some water going. It's just stuff being lifted up to be pushed out. It's all a really good thing. I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit.
Allie, I loved that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
That was really enjoyable. And yeah, it was a great way to start the day. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who attended this morning. We will see you at the next session. Cleanse your life.